Good afternoon. We're here at the Durkeeville Historical Museum, 1293 West 19th Street. You've got Mr. Washington.
Yes.
Is going to be our guide today. And you know Tony Brown's with us too. And we've got Mia back here to support us as well. Mia, what's your last name?
McNair.
Thank you. All right, let's go ahead.
Just want to say this is an absolute pleasure as far as I'm concerned. I support Mr. Washington as caretaker of this museum, his lovely assistant, his intern rather, and we just wanted to show you guys exactly all of the rich black history that's here in Jacksonville, Florida. I don't feel like they get enough exposure, so I wanted to be proactive and say let's use some of these platforms and let's show exactly what Mr. Washington and company have in common. So with further ado, I'm going to pass it over to him. He's going to give us that tour.
Well, we're welcome to the Durkeeville Historical Society. First thing I must give credit, first I need to give credit to is Dr. Carolyn Williams, former instructor at the University of North Florida. She's the reason we're here. She did all the footwork, prep work, and everything to get us here. Unfortunately, she died of cancer, and she is the person, like I say, we can all give either the blame or the credit for. And I'd like to give her all the credit. 5 foot nothing but brains. Okay. Very intelligent and sweet person. That's Dr. Williams. This is what I like to see when I have a group of young people in here. I ask them to read this. I brought it back from the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, Tennessee, and then we talk about it. And a lot of them don't have a clue. And it's interesting, but we had a member who used to work at a business here in town. He was a janitor, and part of his job was to clean the water fountains. And what he would do, he would change signs every so often. The water fountain that says for whites, he put the black sign in. And
that was his job?
That was his job. And nobody really paid attention to what he was doing. And so it was just to tell you, water's water. This is the mindset of people. And he did that for years and got away with it.
Let me ask you a quick question. Do you think black folks have gotten away from talking about this type of history, or do you think it's everybody as a collective have gotten away from talking about?
Everybody as a collective.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we as black folks don't know our history. We're not aware of. We get hung up on slavery. Yes, the old joke said Plymouth Rock didn't land. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. But most people don't understand that the United States was built on the sweat and backs of slaves. We have a lot of important things we've done, and we need to be proud of them. But the first thing we need to do is we need to know it, what they've done, and a lot of them don't have a clue. Unfortunately, all of our young parents don't have a clue. We don't teach it in school, and we go from there. We go straight downhill. We're working on a new exhibit in the J.P. Small ballpark. This is our salute to the Negro League.
And where's JP?
J.P. Small Park is on 7th and Myrtle.
Okay.
It was originally Bars Field, Durkee Field. Recently, and it was changed to J.P. Small Ballpark.
Okay.
If you see on the corner there, right there, on the right hand, right there up top, that is an actual jersey of Mr. Buster Hare. Mr. Hare was the last member of the Negro League who lived in Jacksonville.
Wow. Okay.
Recently, his grandchildren decided they wanted great-grandfather to be in Atlanta with them, so they moved him to Atlanta 3 months ago. But if you see the pictures on the bottom, when we started doing the salute to the Negro League, we saluted all of those guys.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're down to one.
Did Hank Aaron
Hank Aaron played in here. He brought him here, and when he was 19 years old, he sang with the Jacksonville Braves.
Okay.
He was so his contract was sold from the Indianapolis Clowns to the Jacksonville Braves. And most people did not know that they had 3 women that played for the Indianapolis Clowns. Tony Stone, the middle one.
Right.
When they traded Hank Aaron to Jacksonville, she took his place on second base.
Okay, so she's doing that thing back in the day.
Hey, she wasn't bad at
Girl
all.
magic.
And we had Connie Stone, Morgan, and this is Mr. Ann Hamilton. These are the 2 blacks who actually played in the Negro League and lived here in Jacksonville.
Okay.
The lady next to him was Mamie Peanut Johnson. She was a pitcher.
Wow.
Every bit of 120 pounds.
Why we gonna talk about more of the sisters that played?
You should see the new exhibit.
Okay. All right. I'm waiting.
You should see the new exhibit. The new exhibit definitely gives them credit.
Okay.
To be that small,
Not no underhand, overhand.
she should not like playing with the girls. She said she wanted to play with the boys.
Okay.
And
That's good.
she had an 80-mile-an-hour fastball. So 120 miles an hour. But she was not a dumb person. She had a mentor. And she learned a lot from her mentor. He taught her how to completely pull her game around. The mentor was Satchel Paige. The greatest one of the greatest ball pitchers in baseball, period. So she learned from him.
Right.
She was not arrogant enough to say she couldn't learn from him.
I see old Hank right there.
Yep, that's it. We were adopted by the Indianapolis Stars and Clowns, one of the oldest teams. The team she used to play for. We have a fish fry. We had one last week. Okay. The first one in a long time.
How often do you do the fish
We try to do that once a month.
At this location?
At this location.
Okay.
And what we used to do was, it was a chance for the neighborhood to come and see what we had. Right now, due to COVID-19, we have to be we do it it's a drive-through right now. But these are the logos, of the Negro League. And your buddy you just talked about, Hank Aaron. And there was a semi-pro group. And the Jacksonville Colts was part of it. And the reason I have this up here because I'm very proud of this. My uncle pitched for this team. And they were the last team to play the Indianapolis Clowns in Jacksonville at the Merle Avenue Ballpark in 1968. And you did not. We stood there after the ball game for 3 hours because the Clown put on the show. They were considered at that time, you compare them to the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. They went all through the South during the Jim Crow laws, days of Jim Crow, and they were well accepted.
For the audience, what is Jim Crow?
Jim Crow was a group of laws that told blacks what they could do and what they couldn't do.
Okay.
Where they could go, where they couldn't go. For example, if a white woman was walking down the street on the sidewalk, you had to get off the sidewalk.
Right.
Those type laws. So it was just one of those things. And to a certain point, I can remember going in Sears, and my mother bought something. We had to stand there till everybody else was served till we got a chance to. We'd be there for a while, waiting on our turn to be paid for what we had gotten. So that was part of Jim Crow law. Okay?
All right.
This is behind you. Those are the Durkees. 4 Northern soldiers who came to Jacksonville. The family still lives here in Jacksonville.
Y'all do that?
Yeah. One of the Durkees was became the sheriff of Jacksonville. One of the other Durkees was one that lost his arm in the war. He was a pallbearer for Abraham Lincoln. So it was a very influential family. They came from the north. They bought a lot of property here.
So were they carpetbaggers?
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing was, they were so sure that they were going to put a railroad spur through here. That's why they bought up all the property. Well, instead, he took it to St. Augustine. So they sold the property to the government.
Gotcha.
And that's when what we will introduce you to Durkeeville shortly. This is the social life of Durkeeville. It goes from upscale to everything. I'll introduce you to Mr. Weems, who is the person, he has a book out that tells you all about Black history, the Black neighborhoods, from sports to baseball.
And he's a native?
He was a native. He's passed now. When I was going to school, when I graduated from high school, I graduated from James Weldon Johnson, the only way we could get our pictures put in the yearbook is for we had to take Mr. Weems to take our pictures because no white photographers would take our pictures.
Wow.
And so everybody went to Mr. Weems. This is the history about the baseball park. It tells about when it was first built. It talks about the Red Caps, the local team. It talks about when they brought Hank Aaron in. And it talks about the statue in front of that. The statue is named On the Way Home.
Okay.
And it was done by Mr. Wynn. And I'll introduce you to him. That's J.P. Small and his coach's staff. This is a combination of pictures from both schools, J.P. Small and, Stanton downtown and Stanton on 13th Street, which was started in 1958, I think. And they had the Golden Gloves. Do you have any idea who this guy is right here? That is Reginald Pearson, civil rights activist. He was killed on the way to getting a voter's registration done in Tennessee. And he played with the Black Yankees, and he was a heck of a ball player.
Right.
He coached at Stanton for a while. These are ladies of the Lynx. Those are their golf clubs. And this is when Jacksonville started to change. In 1967, when they elected Mary Singleton and Sally Mathis to the civil rights, as they were elected to city council person. They thought they would be a pushover, but it was the biggest mistake they ever made. These ladies were both well-educated, former school teachers, and they were really nothing to play with.
Okay. So it says Negroes get city voice.
Yes. And we just recently had Accent Saturday for the day that never happened. Claude Kirk said it was a non-existing situation. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was chased down the street. The one policeman who was there said he kept calling for backup and nobody would come. So that tells you a lot of people had input to this situation. And so that was with Mr. Yates. Sheriff Glover was a part of it. Sheriff Glover was working at Morrison Cafeteria. And he came out the back door, and fortunately for him, there was the police standing there, because if not for that, I don't think he would have made it. We expect any parent who brings a kid, we give them a book. We expect him. We talked earlier about reading. So for us to be about what we're about, we give them a book to take home with them to read. We don't want you to take a book if you're not going to read it, because reading is a skill that we need to work on. So that's what this is all about. We ask you to grab a book. It goes from young to older. We ask everybody to, and if parents want one, hey, let them take one too. So we want everybody reading.
Great.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.